Hey everybody, welcome to this video on fighting crime with hypnosis.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it, Mike. So this is Mike Mandel, and I'm Chris Thompson, and we run Mike Mandel Hypnosis
Academy.
Mike has been a forensic hypnotist for a long time, and you have worked on major crimes,
yeah.
and can you call any minor crimes? I don't know. I suppose you've only worked on major ones because it invoked hypnosis. That makes it a major crime.
And it's sort of how it happened was unusual because I was a police trainer. I did over 100 performances of hypnosis at the Ontario Police College. Then they started to ask me to come in and do trainings for them as well, advanced interviewing module, different things like that. And then they started calling me because I was the guy they knew as a hypnotist when they wanted a forensic hypnotist to do work for them. Now realize the problem with forensic hypnosis is with any kind of hypnosis, you can produce paramnesia.
The risk of false memory.
False memory syndrome. And that's a real danger.
Yeah. So, and when you fell down that stairs, Johnny, you're implanting the,
did he grab you by the throat? Yeah. It's like,
so
you talk about stuff.
Don't lead the witness, right?
That's it. You don't want to lead the witness. So I came up with a method that does not produce false memory syndrome. And I realized I've run this through past all sorts of hypnotists, and they said it really does work. The methodology is this, and realize we know that forensic hypnosis is not accepted everywhere. The whole problem is you have to have a method that we do that does not create false memory and is just going to stimulate recall and nothing else. I've never had to go to court to give evidence, which is how it should be. If you read Hibbert and Worrell, the classic book, Forensic Hypnosis, you never should give evidence. But my method is simply using metaphor now. Now, that was not always the case.
And we'll get to an example, the drive-through robbery, where you'll tell the story. You didn't use that method, but in a nutshell, I
used to regress the person to the event.
Do you want to finish talking about what you were just saying, though?
Well, I said I do it with metaphor now. I give the person metaphor. I never interview them. I never speak to them about the case before, during, or after the hypnosis.
You do a guided imagery session to amplify recall, but you never know anything about the case.
I don't ask them anything about it.
Okay, that's all we're going to say.
And then I can go in court and say, I've never talked about it. But the method I used to use was more classic, using regression to the event. Now, this was a drive-through of a major fast food chain east of Toronto. The young woman working in the drive-through at night, late, probably 11:30 at night. Somebody came through in a van. The guy shoved a gun at her through the window.
Give me all your money.
Yeah. She got auditory exclusion. She remembered hearing this rushing sound. All these different things happened. All the classic things of someone getting this massive PGO spike because they're in shock with what's happening. And she couldn't remember anything about it.
And this being the problem is that when the police say, hey, can you help us out, answer some questions? What did the guys look like? What was the color of the van?
So there was one guy that was a gray van, and she remembered the gun was huge, which is typical in something like this. It's
submodality amplification.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so what did you do and what ended up happening?
Well, I wound up, they brought her around to my place, and I regressed her to just the order just before the event. And she could remember exactly what the order was, how much it cost. I mean, it freaked them out. And then we started to go through the event when the van appears at the drive-through window. So we slow it all down, and she slows it down, and she says, oh, there's two men in the van.
Now you didn't.
I've not said
and you hadn't said, were there really only one?
Was there two?
Or was it? You didn't lead the witness.
What do you notice in the event now? So I'm having it present state, present tense as she's there. So she remembers there's another guy. Remembers the gun. The van drives across the parking lot. And I said, freeze frame it. And she goes, okay. I said, can you see any other detail? I said, I want you to zoom in just like you would on a camera. So she zooms in on the license plate. She said, I can't see it. It's too dark. I said, reach out with your hand, turn up the brightness on the picture. So she goes, oh, it's a Quebec license plate. And she rhymes off this license plate really fast. Like
6 digits at the time,
HXR 322 or something. And that was it. So now the police start looking. And this was actually on a TV program. They did a recreation of it because it was an actual event. And what happened was they found the van. It was a gray van, like she said. It was on the Ontario-Quebec border, abandoned. And it was a Quebec license plate. And she was
like 5 out of 6.
5 out of 6. 2 of them were transposed, something like that. She almost got it exactly right.
Perfectly.
And this was in darkness across a parking lot. Her brain still had the information.
If it had been perfect, nobody would believe it.
I know.
So there you go. A little bit of imperfection on purpose. No, that's the way it happened, right? So they never caught the guys, but it shows that forensic hypnosis was able to help this woman recall critical information without you planting any new ideas.
Right.
And it turned out to be mostly correct. Now, in this case, she, of course, wanted to help. And that's a very important point, because we're going to move on to now. Let's talk about the Kingston, Ontario story.
Okay. Yeah. I was in Kingston, Ontario years ago. I used to work a bar there called Stages, and it was a big nightclub. And 3 guys came up to me. They looked like bikers. Mike Mandel, yes, guy flashes a badge. They're all police, undercover police from a different city. And they're working there because nobody knows them. They take me down an alleyway and said, there's a guy who's going to be on stage tonight.
Did they say, hey, buddy?
No, and he's likely to volunteer. They said he's that kind of guy. He was wanted for major crime. I can't say anything beyond that. But they said, if he volunteers and is a good subject, can you take him aside after the show, re-hypnotize him backstage so we can interview him
and get him to confess?
Yeah. I said, it doesn't work like that. People will lie as readily under hypnosis and fantasize under hypnosis as they will any other time. So they were disappointed, but we couldn't do it. Now, there was one other case I'll just allude to quickly here. We worked on a couple of murders, and this one case was very, very interesting. A woman was attacked outside a women's shelter.
Oh, this one.
North of Toronto. And the police brought her after running into a dead end. They couldn't get any information, tranced her out. She goes into trance, gives them sufficient information. She's able to identify him in a photo lineup. The police go around to arrest him. He comes running out of his house 6 weeks after the event. He said, I knew you were going to catch me. I knew you were going to catch me. And he said, I need help. I need help. They said, we got to read your rights. Do whatever you want. I need help. Turns out the guy's producing 15 times too much testosterone, and he undergoes chemical sterilization in a Toronto hospital.
And you told that story.
Yeah, I'm not going to say names.
Yeah, you won't. Yeah. Okay, you won't share the details.
In New York State. Yeah, I was doing a thing for the New York State Troopers. I think it's Schenectady. And a guy in the audience, they looked skeptical. He was the psychiatrist who had done the chemical castration on this guy.
He just happened to be in the audience and like
because he was at the event. Yeah, because he was a forensic psychiatrist.
And you're going, oh, thank you. It's crazy.
So the bottom line is, you can get to information using forensic hypnosis if you're very careful. One must be extremely careful not to lead the witness, and it isn't legal in many places.
And it must be ecological, because if somebody wants hypnosis and they want the help, it will be beneficial. But if they are resisting and they don't want to confess to a crime of some sort, no amount of hypnosis is going to do a thing. So if you want to know more about hypnosis, if you're interested in this sort of thing, you want to learn how to be an awesome hypnotist, just like this guy, go join the Mike Mandel. I said that with gum, like gum. Yeah, join the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy. Hubba Bubba and no. So click the subscribe button and then ring the bell and check the description under the YouTube video. Check out the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy for more hang out. Yes. It's awesome. Thanks again and good night.